So in this subject of manufacturing technology, we are discussing about metal casting process. And in that metal casting process, so far we have discussed so many various types of pattern. We have discussed about the various types of pattern material. We have talked about casting process. We have also talked about how this different casting process or what are the various categories of the casting process, and then we have talked about sand casting process. We have talked about investment casting process. We also talked about cell mold casting process. We have talked about pressure die casting process. In that one we have talked about uh, hot chamber die casting and cold chamber die casting. So in this lecture we are going to discuss one more classification of a casting process, and that is known as a centrifugal casting. Centrifugal casting. So from the name it is easily understand that it will work on the principle of centrifugal force, because generally you have studied about the centrifugal force. So how that centrifugal force will comes in picture when we have certain mass which is rotating around its axis, and due to that whatever the outward force is generated, and that outward force is known as a centrifugal force. So the same principle being used in this casting process, and that casting process it is formally known as a centrifugal casting process. It is also known as a liquid forging process. In this process, the mold is rotated at high speed and molten metal is poured into it. We will see this in the diagram. So in that one actually we have one mold. Generally it will be a hollow cylinder. Generally it will be a hollow cylinder. So in that hollow cylinder is rotating at a very high speed, and in that one we pour the molten metal, and as the cylinder is rotating at a very high speed, whatever be the molten metal, that will be directly goes into the action of centrifugal force, and due to that centrifugal force the molten metal is directed outward because of the centrifugal force. Okay, so it will be directed outward from the center, means it will be goes to the outward surface, and that's why the pressure or the casting is generated, and that is generally known as a centrifugal casting. Okay, so due to that centrifugal force high pressure is generated towards the inner surface of the mold. Okay, hence a uniform thickness of metal is deposited all along the inner surface of the mold. Okay, we have a uniform, this is important, uniform thickness of metal is deposited all along the inner surface of the mold, and as it is deposited it is also solidified. Okay, it is also solidified, and due to the centrifugal force what happened that whatever with the impurities which is lighter in weight, that will remain at the center. It will not go to the outward portion. So due to that whatever the impurities that is also taken away during this centrifugal casting process. So this is one of the advantage of centrifugal casting process, and this process produce casting with greater accuracy and better physical properties. Okay, it will generate with a greater accuracy and better physical properties. And this method is mainly suitable for producing casting of symmetrical shape. So this is the limitation. It will be useful for making symmetrical shape. If there is a asymmetric shape, then it is very difficult to produce it by the centrifugal casting. So this is one of the limitation of this centrifugal casting process. Now, the centrifugal casting process is also classified into three different categories. First is a true centrifugal casting, second centrifugal casting, and third centrifuging. So one by one we are going to discuss all the three types of centrifugal casting process. So first, this one, it is a true centrifugal casting process. So an important feature of true centrifugal casting is that the axis of the rotating the mold and that of the casting is the same. So here, as you can see in this diagram, this one, this one is the rotating cylinder. Okay, generally it is a flask, as you can see. Okay, it is a rotating cylinder, this one, and the inner layer or this inner portion, that will be our casted area. Okay, where we are going to do the casting process. Now this cylinder or this flask, which is continuously rotated at very high speed by using these rollers. Okay, here we have top rollers as well as here these are the bottom rollers. Okay, sometime instead of rollers there will be a gear because it will rotate it. So that mechanism, any mechanism which we can use to rotate that cylinder at a very high speed. And the important thing is that whatever be the axis of rotation of the mold, means this is, suppose this is the flask cylinder, so this its axis will be like this. Okay, this will be the axis of rotation for the uh, cylinder. And here whatever the black shadow which you see here in this diagram, it is the product, okay, that is going to be produced. So the axis of the product and the axis of the flask, that will be remain same in the true centrifugal casting process. And as we can see in this diagram that we can produce a hollow pipe. Okay, we can make a product which is a pipe, and the pipe is generally hollow at the center. And if we compare this process with the sand casting, suppose if we compare this with the sand casting process. So now in sand casting process, to make the product hollow, generally we use core. Okay, we use a core which is made up of sand. That core is put inside the mold and then molten metal is poured in the sand casting process. And after solidification, the core is broken, and from that one we can get the hollow product. But here in the centrifugal, true centrifugal casting, we do not require any core. Okay, we do not require any central core for producing a central hole. Okay, so suppose this is the central, this is whatever this gap you can see here, this is the central hole. So that to produce that central hole, we do not require any core. It is automatically produced because of the centrifugal force. Due to the centrifugal force, whatever the molten metal which we pour from this pouring inlet, okay, whatever the it will be into the pouring inlet, it will be directly goes, and due to that high rotation, due to the high rotation of the uh, cylinder, due to the high rotation of the cylinder, whatever the molten metal that will flow here, it will directly comes into the action of centrifugal force and it will direct it towards the outer surface. Okay, so that's why all the material that will only goes to the outer surface, and we do not find any material at the center. And as there is no material at the center, it will automatically become a hollow. So this is how there is no requirement of a core for producing a central hole. The, the axis of rotation of mold may be horizontal, it may be a vertical, or it may be inclined, anything. Okay, the axis can may be horizontal, vertical, or inclined. But in a true centrifugal casting, the condition is that the axis of rotation and the axis for the casting that should be remain same. Then and then it will be termed as a true centrifugal casting. And during the operation, molding flask is properly rammed with the sand. Okay, so here we have a sand layer to confirm to the outer contour of the casting to be made. Okay, so what type of outer contour we require? Based on that, we properly ram the sand on the inner layer of the flask. Okay, and then the flask is then dynamically balanced to produce undesirable vibration due to the process. So it should be a dynamically balanced so that whenever the flask will rotate at a very high speed, and due to unbalance of the mass there will be chance of vibration, and that vibration can be eliminated by proper balancing of the mass when it is rotated. So this is how this centrifugal casting uh, work. Okay, so the finished flask is mounted between the rollers and the mold is rotated slowly, and then molten metal is poured into the revolving mold. Okay, so this is the process. First we have a flask. Okay, and in that flask, okay, so first we have a flask, and in that flask we just create one layer of a sand, and the layer of the sand that is totally depends upon the what kind of outer surface we require. Okay, so that what we discuss over here. Okay, what kind of outer contour will require, and based on that we create a sand lining over here. Okay, on top as well as on the bottom, and then this flask is rotated slowly, rotated slowly, and then when it is initially it is rotating slowly, and then the molten metal is poured inside the hollow cavity of the roller, and due to that centrifugal force it throws the molten metal towards the outer wall. Okay, and due to the centrifugal force, it whatever the molten metal that is coming, it will be thrown out to the outer surface like this, and the amount of metal poured determine the thickness of the casting. So suppose this thickness of the, suppose we are making one pipe. Okay, so what should be the thickness of the pipe wall, and that is controlled by pouring the molten metal, proper amount of pouring the molten metal, because we have a proper length. Okay, from here to here we have a exact length, and we exactly know that that we require a 2 mm or 5 mm thickness. So based on that, this required amount of molten metal that should be poured inside the hollow cavity, and the required amount of molten metal is poured, and after pouring is completed, the mold is rotated as its original speed. Okay, original speed means its high speed. It will rotate it at very high speed, and at that high speed it will start solidifying and it will solidify. Okay, and it will be rotated till it will be solidified, and from that one we can get the required casting. So this is how this process is performed step by step. And the outer surface of the mold is water cooled, therefore matter solidified quickly. Now there is a cooling mechanism that can be depends upon the requirement, what kind of cooling process we use, but generally it require a quick cooling. So for quick cooling there will be certain arrangement is done so that water is flowed all around the molten metal so that it will solidify quickly. And the casting machine is mounted on wheel with pouring ladle with a long spout exceeding till the other end of the casting to be made. Okay, so uh, that's the arrangement we require for the centrifugal casting. And this method is used to cast hollow cylindrical objects. As I told earlier, it will be used to cast a hollow cylindrical objects such as hollow pipe. It is also useful for making gun barrels. It is also useful for making liner bushings. Okay, and there are many more products. These are the some of the examples. So where we require a cylindrical hollow object, generally this process is preferred. This is true centrifugal casting is preferred because in that one the axis of the mold as well as the axis of the casting that are the same, and that symmetrical parts which is generally produced by the uh, centrifugal true centrifugal casting process. Then next one is a semi-centrifugal casting. In semi-centrifugal casting method, the mold is completely full of metal as it spun about its vertical axis. So this is the thing. And riser and core may be employed. So it is different from the true centrifugal casting. In that one, generally the axis of the spin is vertical and the mold is full of metal. While in true centrifugal casting, we pour the molten metal which is depends upon or which is on as per the requirement of the thickness of the mold we require. While here it will be full of metal, and generally we employ riser and core for desired shape and size. The rotation speed of this mold is not as great as for the true centrifugal casting process. It is slightly slower, or its RPM is slightly less than a true centrifugal casting. And here the molten metal is poured from a central sprue. So as you can see here, this is the diagram. Here this is our uh, mold which is made up of a cope and drag. Okay, this is the cope and this is the drag, and here this is the hollow cavity, this is the casting. And we require a hollow cavity so that here the core, as we discussed that core may be fixed. Okay, so here this uh, we require hollow cavity, so this central core is given. And then from the pouring basin the molten metal is poured, and that molten metal that will goes to the different area of the casting by use of a centrifugal force, and it require a less speed as compared to the true centrifugal casting. And as the rotation of speed is low, centrifugal force and the pouring pressure is comparatively low as compared to true centrifugal casting, because the centrifugal force and the pressure pouring pressure both are depends upon the rotating speed of the mold. So here it is low, so the centrifugal force which is generated is slightly low as compared to true centrifugal casting. And in that case, we are not able to collect the impurities at the center, because in true centrifugal casting, due to the high rotation speed, the impurities which is light in weight, that will comes into the center, because because of the centrifugal force, that light weight impurities that are not able to generate such a force, so that they automatically remain at the center, while the heavy metal that will generate a large centrifugal force, so due to their high density, they goes to the outer periphery of the uh, cylinder or flask, and that's why it will be collected into the center when we use a true centrifugal casting. But in semi centrifugal casting, the rotation speed is less, as well as we are using some core and um core, so that it will not automatically collect that impurities at the center. And here we can use green sand, we can use dry sand for making the mold. And also a central core is used to form the required inner surface. Okay, so it is optional, depends upon the shape and size, we are using the core. And this method is used to produce large size symmetrical casting. So again, it will be useful for symmetrical casting, but the size is not a limit. Okay, we can make a large size symmetrical object which can be produced by this semi centrifugal casting, like disc, pulleys, gears, sprocket wheels, etc. Okay, so these are the some of the example which can be casted by this semi centrifugal casting. So in a true centrifugal casting, we can make a product which is hollow in shape, hollow and symmetrical. In a semi-centrifugal casting, we can make large product with a symmetrical shape. Then this is the third process, centrifuging process. So in this method, several casting cavities are located around the outer portion of the mold. So here, as you can see in this diagram, this is the central sprue, and on that central sprue there are number of different parts, okay, or cavities being produced. Now the cavities which is being produced, which may be a irregular, which may be a non symmetrical, which may be of different shape and size. Okay, so this semi centrifugal casting is used when we have a irregular shape and irregular size, but generally the size of the product that we are making, which is a small, which is small as compared to semi centrifugal casting as well as true centrifugal casting. And in that one, the central sprue is used. Okay, and from that central sprue, the molten metal is fed, and due to that centrifugal force, all the molten metal that will be goes inside the hollow cavity of a different shape. And due to that rotation, there will be a centrifugal force generated, and that is enough to fill the molten metal. And in this one, this method mainly differ from the true centrifugal method, because the axis of the rotation and axis of the mold that do not coincide with each other. So this is the different from a true centrifugal casting. In this one, the axis of the rotation that is not going to be matched with the axis of the mold, and generally it will be useful for making irregular and non-symmetric part, but in a small size. So these are the three types of uh, casting process. And then the internal cavities of these castings are irregular in shape, okay, and are formed by dry cores. This method is also useful for making a unsymmetric object. It can produce casting of irregular shape such as bearing caps or small brackets or many more. Okay, so these are the some of the products which can be produced by the uh, uh, centrifuging. So in centrifugal casting, we have discussed three different types of centrifugal casting. First, true centrifugal casting. Second, semi-centrifuging casting. And third, centrifuging. And all these three process is being used for making different kinds of products. They all are not same, okay, and also not being used for making similar parts, all having a different area of application. The rotation speed, the pressure being generated, the force being generated are totally different in each and every case. So in true centrifugal casting, it is rotating at high speed. We do not require any core, and it produce cylindrical parts. Then semi-centrifugal casting, it will be useful for making uh, symmetrical and large size casting like a disc or pulley. And third, centrifuging, in that one, irregular as well as unsymmetric objects which is produced like brackets or bearing caps. Okay, so these are the three types of casting, centrifugal casting process. Then next process that we are going to discuss is a continuous casting. Continuous casting. So whatever the casting process that what we have discussed so far, like a sand casting or a cell mold casting or die casting, investment casting, hot chamber, cold chamber die casting, or centrifugal casting, any casting what we have discussed so far, all that are being used to making only small part or limited part. If it is a large size, but still it is a limited size. But when we want to produce a continuous product, continuous means very long product, then all the process that what we have discussed so far, that is not being used, because all these process have a limited shape and size. So when we want to produce a very long product, in that case this continuous casting being employed. So in this continuous casting process, as you can see in this diagram, here we have the source of molten metal. This is the molten metal, and that molten metal is continuously being poured into the ladle. This is the ladle. Okay, so from this molten furnace, okay, so generally it will be a furnace, and in that furnace there will be a continuous production of a molten metal. That molten metal that will be supplied to the ladle, and from that ladle it will be passed through this arrangement. Here, as you can see, this is the molten metal that will be poured directly over here. And as this molten metal, which is very high temperature and liquid form, but as it will start come over here, there will be a continuous flow of a cool gas, okay, as well as cooling water. We have a continuous flow of cool gas as well as cooling water. And what that cooling water will do? The cooling water that will take all the heat of the molten metal, and as the molten metal will lose the heat, okay, it will start come out from the mold like this one, okay, so like big strips, okay, or a big rod, it will become in the form of a big rod, and then that big rod that will be pulled by the rollers, and then again it will be here we have a cutter. So from that cutter we just cut that into the desired shape and size. So simply if we take the example of I'm just giving you one example to understand, okay, it is not exactly matching with that one, but if you are making a railroad, okay, I'm just giving you the example, the railroad is very long, as we know that, okay, so to make that railroads, similar type of arrangement can be made. I'm not talking that railway roads are made by this continuous casting process. Okay, its process is different. But suppose you want to make such a long railroads like 20 meter, 30 meter, or 50 meter. Okay, such a long product. So in that case, that molten metal will be poured, and then as it will be poured over here, it will be cooled, and due to that cooling action, it will be generated into that shape, and after that certain length it will be cut over here. So whatever be this one, this is the product, okay, the long product, actually there will be a long product. Then from here we will cut it, and then as it will continuously goes down after 20 to 30 meter, whatever the length we require, again we will cut, again it will be pulled down. So this process is being continuously used, that's why it is known as a continuous product. Okay, we can produce a continuous same product for a long length, and that's why it is known as a continuous casting process. So this is one another casting process which is known as a continuous casting process.